Hi and welcome to this chat that we're having today. I'm excited to introduce our main guest for today. So I'm Hayley, I'm a manifestation coach and I'm co-hosting this with Candice, and she is a beauty therapist. And together we are putting on Creating a Confident You Day retreat, which is happening in Mullaney in July. So today we wanted to jump on and introduce our very special guest that we're excited to have both coming to the retreat and chatting to us today. And this is Charlotte. So Charlotte is a photographer. She is a mum. She is an entrepreneur. She is so many things. And personally, I'm very excited to have her coming along to the retreat, because she is a brilliant photographer. If you haven't seen her photos, please go to the Branding Bar website or her Instagram and see her stunning work, because it really is beautiful. But also because she is passionate about empowering women, especially new mums, to have some confidence to gain their identity back, which we're going to talk about during this chat. But that's just a brief introduction. Charlotte, do you want to give yourself a little bit of an introduction as well?
No, I feel like that was really good. That's better than what I could do myself. But yeah, I'm really glad to be here and a part of it. Like when I met you girls, I feel super aligned with everything that you're doing at this retreat. It's going to be such an amazing day. And yeah, I've been a wedding lifestyle branding photographer for over 10 years. So one thing I am super passionate about is helping people find confidence to be seen and worthy of being preserved. Like the biggest thing I got into this for was preserving people and making sure that they exist. Sometimes we can easily hide behind filters and masks and our logos or our children, and we forget to step in and say, like, I'm worthy to be seen and to show the world that I existed. So that's one thing I'm super passionate about.
Awesome.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah. So one of the things that I'm impressed by, we'll get into all the photography things in a minute, but you have created a course, which is photography for new mums, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're pretty much self-taught. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, which I think is amazing, because I feel like this comes back to confidence for me, because I feel like sometimes people, if they don't have a piece of paper, they can't, I can't be a photographer, I haven't been to school, or I haven't done this course, or I haven't done this. And I think it is so freaking empowering when women go out and do something that they love and they're really good at it by being self-taught without having that, that piece of paper that society thinks that they should have. So I just wanted to say, I think that's great and congratulations. But for me, that tells me that we're in alignment, because you're like, this is what I want to do and I'm just going to go and do it. So that tells me that you love what you do, which is what I'm about. So,
and you've given yourself permission to do it as well, which I love.
Yeah, because it is hard, I think, when society is like, no, you have to go to university. And, I was thinking about this. Nobody's ever looked at my pieces of paper. Like, I have 2 degrees, and the only person or the only business who's ever looked at my degrees, true story, is when I was volunteering in Thailand. They wanted to know that I had degrees. Yeah, to actually get a work permit. No other company has ever seen the physical piece of the paper. So it is just a bit mental. So yeah. But did you want to, I guess, start off with how you see confidence show up in your business, Charlotte, and how women especially come to you when they want their photos taken?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, confidence is definitely something that it comes with practice and patience. And I think a lot of people, they grew up with watching TV presenters and all of the people that kind of show up in a professional space online, and they feel like they need to be perfect in order to have their photo taken, or to show up on a Zoom like this, or to show up on their Instagram stories, or whatever it is. And, I feel like we need to push past this perfection and understand, like, we are all worthy of being seen exactly as we are. We're perfect as we are. And, the biggest thing that I find in photography is no matter how confident someone seems on the outside to the outside world, and this is that kind of mask that I'm talking about that everyone is comparing themselves to. Like, we all sit at home thinking we're like ugly or fat or this or that or not worthy of being seen because this person is showing up with all the confidence in the world and I'm not as confident or as successful as this other woman. That's just a mask, because everyone, as soon as they get in front of the camera, no matter how big or how confident they seem to the outside world, everyone is battling with their own insecurities. So I feel like the most fascinating thing about being a photographer is that all of these people that I have put on a pedestal in my life, and I've thought, I've put them above me. As soon as they're in front of the camera, I see them kind of that energy shrink back down, and then it's about me building that back up again. And I feel like when I have the camera in my hand, it's almost like you're in control. You've got the power sometimes, and it's just understanding. It's so beautiful to see that. This is just all the stories in our head saying that we're not worthy of being seen, because everyone's battling with it. It's just those people that they're seeing it just as like they're just pushing past their fear. And I just want people to know that
yes,
everything that they're going through themselves, every single person jumping in front of the camera has, no matter how confident they seem.
I want to share something because this was a really pivotal moment for me when after our session that we had. So obviously Hayley and I have had a session with Charlotte. I've had a session with Charlotte on my own as well. Photos. And what you're saying there really resonates, because I remember the feeling that I had when I was getting the photos done. And a lot of it was discomfort, a lot of it was insecurity, and a lot of it was feeling like I looked really silly and that I was, I don't know, I felt a little bit out of place in a way. But the way that you were you kind of had the power, and you were almost giving me the tools to feel brave enough to do it. When I saw the photos, I couldn't believe that is what I looked like. Like, I remember you saying, yes, you look great, whatever. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I feel kind of funny. But then when I saw the actual photo, I was like, whoa, this person looks way more confident than she felt in that moment. And that was really pivotal for me. And I've really taken that with me as well, in just having that moment in time where I've gone, I'm going to push past the fear that holds me back, and I'm going to allow myself just to be immersed by this experience and then actually see the outcome of that. I was like, oh yeah, this is why we're doing this. This is amazing.
And that's the thing I love about photographs, is like, as soon as you see it, you see yourself how others see you. Don't you think? Like, sometimes we go to the mirror and you don't believe what anyone tells you, whether it's your mum or your friends. You would never speak to a friend how you speak to yourself, right? Yeah. And like, it's almost like people have this disbelief, like they're sitting in front of the camera like, you're so beautiful, you look amazing. They're like, they don't believe it until they see it. And this is what is the thing I love about photography is it's empowering, but like, once you push past that fear and you see the photos, you're like, I can do this.
Yeah.
I look pretty good, like, oh yeah. And then you're just going to get better and better, and you can grow so much as a person. And I've experienced this in myself. Even though I've shot people for years, I very rarely jumped in front of the camera, because after I had kids, I was covered in stretch marks. I didn't see myself as worthy of being in front of the camera, just behind it. And it wasn't until I had my own personal branding photos where I got to kind of see myself. And then I was like, honestly, at the time, this was my first photo show. I was like, I don't like what I see. And this was where I went out, and then I made huge changes in my business and life. So almost like, no matter, even if you don't like what you see at the start, it's actually such a great thing that you can grow from it, because you don't, until you actually see yourself. And, now I look back and I'm so glad I took those photos, because without the photos at the start, you don't grow.
Exactly. What I love is that I was a bit like, I still am a bit like you, I guess, in terms of I don't love being in front of the camera. So I do things like this to push myself, because it's not what I would love to be doing. But then now I realize that all of the silly photos that I've got back then, I've got them. I can't go back. And take them. Is that now, even if I didn't love what I looked like then, I love now that I have those photos, and I'm like, oh yeah, I was looking pretty good back then, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I'm trying to do now is, Hayley, just take the photo, because in 10 years time, you're going to wish you had it, And
I think it also encourages you to be more kind to yourself presently, because you look at maybe a photo that you maybe didn't love about yourself, or you look at yourself in a moment in time where you didn't feel your best self. And then in 10 years from then, you go, oh my God, I actually looked amazing, or you feel so much more positive about that. And it's a good reminder then to be like, okay, so in this present moment, I need to be more kind to myself. because like you said, the time's going to pass and you can't go back. So you've got to find a way to be kind to yourself.
And I like, Charlotte, what you did with us, is what you did with us. You made us feel like, you said, just have fun with it, just play. And at the time we were like, oh, you know, but then when we did relax into it, the photos, I feel like those were the best photos. And obviously you knew that. But I feel like it's a bit of a metaphor for life. The more you relax into something and have fun, the better it turns out, you know, and trust, you know. So I really liked that part. Is that what you find with most of your clients, that when they're having fun, they have better photos?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I love what you said there, Lynn. Like, because when you do look back at photos, this is the most important thing for me, because when I got into photography, like pretty much like by the time I was 10, my nan and both grandparents and my brother died like within a year. And that's when I got into photography, because I was like preserving people. That's all I ever want. I actually got like almost obsessed with the idea that I'm going to get more time if I preserve it and I get to look back on this. And yeah, exactly what you were saying is like all those photos back then, it's just a moment in time. Hey, you're thinking and all these fears. And I look back at photos when I was a kid and I used to kind of cover my tummy. And I look back now, I'm like, why did you do that? Like, I'm glad I have the photos, but like at the time you think that you didn't look good, but now I would kill to look that way. Yeah. So even one of my top tips for finding confidence on camera is actually pretend you're from the future. Because if you're 80 years old, when would you ever, like, you look back and no matter what, you're sitting there, you can't even move like that. You look back at that person and it's kind of like you'll never regret having the photos of yourself younger, because you'll never look back at yourself like that if you're 80.
Yeah, I really like that.
Love that.
Yeah.
I feel like that is, and also, your kids as well. People make it so much about them and they forget about all the other people.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We live for our kids, right? And then we we're saying we're not showing up in photos, but do you think your kids
they don't
want these memories?
Like they just want to see you.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I feel like I heard something once that that I just thought of then was we say we would die for our kids, but would we live for them? And I think that ties that in really beautifully, because if you are not living and you're not living in the moment and you're not being brave enough to experience all the experiences and capture them and save them and preserve them, where was your life?
But also it goes to show your kids, like, so our kids learn from us, right? So I look at my daughter and she looks at me and I notice that she copies what I do. So I want her to have all the confidence in the world, right? And she pretty much does, my daughter, but
good.
That from me, you know? And so if I'm there hiding, she's going to start hiding, and I don't want her to do that. And that's really affected how I behave around her, because I don't want her to copy the bad habits that I have. I want to break those habits so she doesn't have them.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So what other things would you say, Charlotte, that, you know, sort of tips for people who might be coming along to the retreat or who are having their own photos to, you know, I guess have the best experience on the day and to let down their guard and you know, get some good photos?
Yeah. So my biggest tips for finding confidence on camera is, one, breaking through the blocks that you're not worthy of being in front of the camera, for one, because, you know, a lot of people, like we were just saying, is they're all the stories in their own mind, but I want people to know that they're worthy of existing in photographs. Like, we're always the mums behind the camera taking photos of everyone else. So I really just want you guys to be able to come in and get some beautiful photos of yourself, for one. But the second thing is just really practicing. This is a great way for you guys to find confidence on camera, is looking in the mirror and, you know, practicing some poses, looking at Pinterest before the day. We're going to go through some posing tips. So that's always fun, and just having fun with it, because like we said, the sillier you are, the better the photos. You can delete the bad ones, just like the best ones will come out of it. So just treating it as a fun, and you don't have to show them to the world. You can just show them for yourself, have them for yourself. That's another big thing. Like, you don't need to go out there and share them, but like, at least if you have them, I think it's really important that you have got photos of yourself. And I think it's just about having that great atmosphere, which we'll be creating on the day too.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
For me, one of the reasons that helped me was remembering why I was doing it. And then I could sort of step out of the me part of it just for that to get started. So I guess it's kind of like the makeup thing. It's like having I'm doing these photos. So we got photos done with you for this retreat. And it was like, Haley, you need to show up for this because we're promoting this retreat and this is something that you love. So you need to show up for it. And so when I remembered that, that's how I got started.
Yes.
That was my first step, you know. And then once I remembered why I was doing it, I got into it and I had fun and the rest just flowed, you know. But I guess that's something else that people can use is remembering why you're having your photos done. You know, why are you taking that photo? Is it to capture a moment? Is it to capture a feeling? You know, what is it that you're doing?
And I think that's a really good segue into kind of why we've designed the retreat the way that we have, in having the mindset and manifestation intention setting in the morning and going through that so that you do have something to come back to and remind yourself through the rest of the day. Having that moment of looking at yourself in the mirror and finding all the reasons that you're beautiful and just glowing up a little bit, just enough that you feel like your very best self. And then when you do come into the photography part of the session, you're hopefully going to feel really empowered and really ready to go. And you've got those little things to fall back onto in those moments of going, oh, I'm not sure if I can do this.
Yeah, I agree. And for me, it's almost like we've swapped. Like for me, I need those makeup and beauty tips for me to, do you know what I mean? Like to feel a bit more confident to be on camera. Like, you know, for me, as I'm getting older, my makeup has changed. Everything about me and the way I look is changing. And that was a bit like, I don't know where to start now. And even having the photos done, I was like, oh, do I want these photos done? Because I'm not sure about how I look. So for me, this is important because I want people to show up, whether they think they look good or not. That's not the point. They already do look good. It's just making themselves feel good about it.
And that goes back to what Charlotte was saying before as well, is recognize what is it that's holding you back from doing it in the first place.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Because I feel like when you feel good on the outside, you feel good on the inside as well. And, you know,
exactly.
I love that, Candace, how you do teach people to just not, it doesn't have to be too glam. It feels like them.
Yep.
Yes.
You know? And that's what I love about how you're teaching makeup as well.
I don't know if I've told you the story, Charlotte. My experience with that was when I went to see Candice to have makeup, because I don't love to wear a lot of makeup. And I couldn't have an external makeup person do makeup for me for photos because I would feel like not really, you know what I mean? So when I went to Candice, I said, can I have some makeup? And I literally had a visible physical reaction to certain makeups because I didn't like how it made me look or feel. So I think that's important, that you have to be able to look at yourself and go, oh, I like how I look. Even if it's a makeup artist that's amazing, you still have to love what you look like, you know, because otherwise you won't look like you in the photo. It could be an amazing photo, but that's not me. I don't ever wear red lipstick or whatever it is, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And that's a lot of that's what happens to clients when they come in. Like I had a client a few weeks ago and she drove the whole way from Brisbane. She just didn't like the way she looked. She had to borrow my bathroom to try and bring it back to what she felt like it looked like her. And it actually happened to me on my own personal branding shoot.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah, because like I'm not great at hair. So like I literally had it all like look and glam, but like almost poodle-like. And I'm like, I don't even share the photos because I'm like, it doesn't look like me. They were too tight. I didn't brush them out, you know? And I was just like, oh, I actually really don't like it when it doesn't look like me. Yeah. So that is like, yeah, it's so empowering when you can actually look at yourself and go, I actually feel better when I look more like myself. Like,
exactly. Sometimes less is more.
Experience. Yeah. I love that.
100%. And it's also leads into like letting go of what you think you have to look like. And I guess that's kind of the social media influencer era that we're kind of living in, you know. And I was listening to an interview this morning of someone, and she was saying that, you know, she said, oh, I won Miss World when I was 18. And I'm like, of course at 18 you can win Miss World. I probably could have won Miss World. I mean, no, just joking, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We believe you.
are looking amazing. Nothing's dropped. You haven't had kids. Your skin is looking beautiful. And, you know, so it's remembering that the people that we're seeing, that's not necessarily exactly how they look, you know. Maybe they've got filters, or maybe they've had makeup done for, you know, 5 hours beforehand or something like that. And it's remembering that you don't have to look like those, you know. And for me, I find that I'm starting to scroll past some of those people because I'm like, if it doesn't look authentic or real or like you, I'm not super interested anymore. So, I mean,
that's something I really talk about with people a lot. And I think you probably had that experience with me, Hayley, is what is your desired outcome? Like, what is it that you actually are aiming for when it comes to the way that you look, or applying your makeup, or doing your hair, or whatever it is?
Yeah.
Where's your inspiration coming from as well? And more often than not, people are like, I actually want to look like I'm not wearing makeup. I just want my skin to look really healthy.
Yeah.
And I, you know, and even the experience with you were like, oh, I feel like I should be wearing lipstick. Like, and we sort of played around with that. And you were like, I don't like it. And I was like, okay, so we don't wear lipstick. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to wear lipstick just because it's makeup, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I noticed that, Charlotte, you put out a poll on your Instagram stories the other day about whether people want more filtering or less filtering.
Yeah.
Noticed a huge shift. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Which is awesome, because like a few years ago, it was so about the filters that had just come in. So people were almost like using filters so much, including myself, where I was like, when I saw a real me, I was like, oh, is that what I look like? It was almost like, is that what I look like? And it was like, then you doubt yourself.
Yeah.
And now people are going for more that authentic look, because as you said, Hayley, people are actually more drawn to that. They want to see real.
Yeah.
And what I loved about what you was just saying about who made this society box, you know, that we have to fit in, and people are having this huge comparison game.
Yeah.
You know what I have found in my life is that secretly everyone just wants to find that confidence in their skin. And as soon as someone steps into that, they're the most powerful person in the room.
Yeah.
Really, everyone wants to be that. Everyone wants to show up authentic, speak their truth, show up without the filter. And if you can do it, you're setting like this amazing example, not only for your kids, but for everyone else. And you actually open up a safe space for people to start actually stepping into that.
Yeah.
Anyone that judges anyone based on their looks or showing up or going and speaking and living their truth, they just seem secretly envious of that.
Yeah.
You know, so like that is just one thing I really want to, anyone that's listening to this, if you're scared to show up, everyone is like, exactly what I said before. They're hiding because they don't have that confidence that you could have. And, you know, the more people that are finding confidence in themselves, we're going to just inspire and motivate more people, because really that's what the world is craving and needing right now. And, you know, one thing I also love to say in my photography business, because it's all about personal branding. And you know, we're all trying to compare ourselves to other people, but the greatest people in the world stand in their own lane. There's only one of them, and there's only one of you.
Yeah.
And everyone looks for their point of difference in things like logos and colors and fonts, but really it's like right in the mirror, it's you. There's only one of me, one of Hayley, one of Candice, you know. And like that's one thing that I love to see, is people just owning who they are, because you're going, if the more you fake it, the more you hide, and the more you change yourself to fit in, the more you're going to keep attracting people that don't love you, don't value you, treat you like crap, show up late, cancel on you, and they feel so unaligned. And you're going to feel so like forcing your business, forcing your life. If you notice that people keep showing up, it's because of who you're putting out there. That's actually not even you.
Yeah.
Yes, that's so
sense. Like the moment I stepped into and showed up on my social media as Charlotte, as me, unfiltered, take it or leave it, my business life changed dramatically. I only attracted people that were pretty much exactly like me and loved me, valued me, people that even tipped me when they were late. I'm like, what's going on? You know, in the past, I used to have to sell myself so much because I was actually not even authentically being myself, and it felt so forced, and it was not even natural. And my friendships were forced. My relationship at the time felt forced, you know? And it's like the most coolest thing that comes out of this is when you find confidence in yourself, you're going to attract such a better life, more money, better friendships, everything.
And I love that. And I think that is so true to business and branding, but it's equally as true just to life in general. And you even spoke about that in your friendships and in your relationship and just other aspects of your life. It really does. It's everything that goes on in your life. So you do have to feel confident to show up however you want to, so that everything in your life, it replicates that. And you have the right people showing up and treating you in a way that you're supposed to be treated, and you can do things without fear of judgment as well, which I think is something that really holds people back too. So it's finding confidence to go out and kind of tell the world that that's how you're going to show up, or how you're going to be treated as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, look, I think it comes back to when you look at yourself, who do you want to spend time with? You want to spend time with people who are real, and even if they're different, that's cool because they're themselves. Do you know what I mean? So you know what to expect, you know that that's who they really are, and they're not necessarily going to change or flip or anything like that. That's what if you take it back to you just as a person, that's who you're attracted to. You want to spend time with those people. You want to actually be around them and be around their energy, you know? So I think I think it's amazing when people step into their own lane and go, I don't care what everyone else is doing. This is what I'm doing. If you don't like it, don't follow me. There's the unfollow button. Off you go.
Yeah.
And it makes me sad because actually, like, I look at my daughter, she's 3 years old, and I had a psychic reading recently, and they said that you're born with everything you need, the confidence, and the confidence was the key word in this reading. And it's something that actually completely changed my outlook. But she said, you're born with everything you need in this world. Enough love, like, to get you through, like self-love, confidence. And I look at my daughter and she's naked every day. Like, to try and get clothes on her, it's just impossibility. She looks at herself, she dances in the mirror, she's like, I'm so beautiful, Mom. I'm so beautiful. And it's just like, when did it change? And like, another thing, like, I really like how Haley was saying, like, your kids are looking at you, but we're looking at them. And they're the greatest teacher and reminding us that, like, where did it change? We need to, like, help our kids stay with all of this confidence they were born with. Like, this is not even something they learned. They actually just came with it. Yep. We came with that too.
Yeah.
And I feel like if we can learn from our kids as well, and actually remind ourselves that that's once was us and we had that confidence, then maybe it's going to help them, you know, keep it. Because really, where did we lose it? You know, for me, probably high school, maybe end of primary school.
100%. Yeah.
And that scares me, you know, at the moment. I'm almost scared for her because I'm like, I don't want you to go to school anymore, like, just to like go and unlearn everything that you actually naturally had.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if we can do that, if we can show them that at home it's a safe space where you can be who you are, that's for me, that because I worry about high school as well. And I think I'm going to do my best to give her all the tools so when she gets to high school, she's got them, and when she comes home, she can be whoever she wants, and that's totally her, and that this is just a short period in time. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to, as long as she can be as herself is the main thing. As long as she can be herself, don't change into someone that she doesn't love.
Yeah, I love that. And that's a cool thing that people, if you're a mum coming to the retreat, you can just look at your kids for this week or the next few weeks and just go, wow, if my kids like can do this,
exactly,
surely I can, you know, like, and you look at them and get inspired from your own kids.
Yep.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
I'll be like, look at my mum, she's so cool.
Yeah.
Or she's not, but she's doing it anyway.
Yeah. No, I love it.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, guys. Is there anything else you wanted to say before we wrap up?
I'm just so excited.
It's going to be good. It'll be a fun day.
It's going to be awesome. So for those of you who haven't heard or are just hearing about this for the first time, we are hosting a Creating a Confident You day retreat in Mullaney. It's on the 17th of June. I'll put the link to the tickets down the bottom, and I'll put Charlotte's link and Candice's as well in here so you can find all of us. It's going to be such a fun day. We're having manifestation and mindset to start. So that's me with getting clear on what it is that you want and why you want it. And sometimes that might not be what you think it is. It's breaking that down and going, why do I want this? And then we'll be spending some time with Candice, and she'll be showing you how to show up as the most confident, beautiful version of you that you want to look like. And then we're going to capture it all with Charlotte. She's going to be teaching us how to use our own cameras to take photos of ourselves and other people, and just a few things on how to pose, and just some simple tips and tricks that make such a big difference. And you're going to be able to walk away and take those things with you, you know? So it's not like you get a beautiful photo on the day and that's it. This is stuff that you can actually walk away with, all of these things that we're teaching you.
Feeling empowered.
Yeah, exactly. Feeling empowered, you know? So anything else I've missed, guys?
Yeah,
I think you nailed it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, Charlotte. I really appreciate it. And we will be probably talking to you again soon, I'm sure. So thank you, everybody.
Thanks,
guys.
Bye.